Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar to explain the new program for NSSEA members with independent stationers. I'm Jim McGarry, President and CEO of NSSEA, and one of the issues we take very seriously here at your association is to look for opportunities and partnerships that will help our members compete and grow your business in new and innovative ways. Many of you have asked us to help you more effectively work at the school district level and to explore new markets to diversify your business. This new partnership with independent stationers does exactly that. As you will hear shortly, they have recently been the successful bidder for the U.S. Communities School Supply Contract, and they also hold the U.S. Communities Office Products Contract. Now I would like to introduce to you Charles Foreman and Kevin France from Independent Stationers, who will walk you through this exclusive opportunity for NSSEA dealers. If you have any questions during the course of the presentation, you can type them into the box on your screen, and we'll look to address them at the end of the program. So, Charles, over to you.
And again, I'm Charles Foreman. I am the Executive Vice President with Independent Stationers, and I'm very excited to be talking to you today about this very innovative program that Independent Stationers and NSSEA have worked together on. And I couldn't have prefaced it any better than Jim did in terms of, what we're trying to accomplish. Obviously, we are in different industries, but sometimes they overlap and are related. And we're different organizations, and so when we began having discussions with NSSEA, it quickly became evident that there would be some nice opportunities for both organizations. So what I'm going to do is talk about a little bit of history of independent stationers, who we are, what some program opportunities are for the NSSEA members to participate in some of the things that independent stationers does. And then, of course, any next steps. So if there's some interest from the NSSEA members, we'll tell you where you go for more information to get all of your questions answered. And as Jim said, you can chat your questions into the presentation anytime, and we will do a little Q&A at the end of this webinar. So next slide, please. Independent stationers, we've been around for well over 35, 36 years now. We were established in 1977 in Indianapolis when independent office products dealers came together to join forces to try to aggregate volume in terms of buying better and things of that nature, and be more successful in competing against their big box competitors, Office Depot, Staples at the time, and later in Boise at the time, and later who became Office Max. We are not an association, but we are a cooperative, and we are made up of independent dealers all around the country. I'll share some stats with that in just a second in that lower bullet. And our members, they're not public entities. They don't answer to Wall Street. They answer to Main Street, I think, like many, if not all of your organizations out there perhaps listening to us today. Currently, we have over 350 members and affiliates of independent stationers around the country, and those 350 plus members and affiliates have over 500 servicing locations, and they have close to 2,000 or 1,900 sales representatives, feet on the street, calling on businesses and other opportunities both in the public and federal sector as well. Our end user sales, our members and affiliates end user sales equate to in excess of $3 billion. So we have we have pretty strong power in aggregate. Obviously, that's one of the reasons for an entity like us, is to aggregate that volume and be more successful in negotiating programs and things of that nature. Next slide, please. So an overview of the NSSEA Independent Stationers relationship. I'm going to talk about a few of these and then turn it over to Kevin to address the national accounts aspect of it. So federal sales, Our RDC is our regional distribution centers, and it's kind of a unique way to buy primarily office supplies, some IT product, meaning information technology, mostly ink and toner, that type of thing, some facility and break room products, things of that nature. And then we have a number of direct vendor relationships, and I'll share some of that with you as well. And then, of course, as I said before, Kevin, he will tell you about our National Accounts Program and the U.S. Community School Supply Agreement we've recently been awarded, plus the U.S. Community's Office Supply Agreement that we've had for a number of years now. So next slide, please. So independent stationers, we've held a General Services Administration multiple award schedule 75 since 2002. And the federal government is full of acronyms, so that's what that GSAMAS stands for, General Services Administration Multiple Award Schedule. A Schedule 75 is for office products. They have a number of different schedules for different categories of products. But again, we've been creating opportunities for our members and affiliates to sell to the federal government where they choose to, dating back to 2002. We were also awarded the first and second generation of the Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative, BPA, Blanket Purchase Agreement. Again, a lot of government acronyms here, and if you have interest in selling this in this space, we help our members through some training and certification to understand all these acronyms. But these FSSI Blanket Purchase Agreements have really changed the face of how, and continue in other categories of how the federal government is procuring various products. So it's very important that we had won these to create opportunities for our members to sell in this space. As I said, this agreement allows members and affiliates to sell office products to federal agencies. For some federal agencies, the FSSI BPA is mandatory. So they've been given directives from the people that from the most senior people in the agencies, the Veterans Administration, the Department of the Interior, things of that nature. They've been given direction that if you're a credit card holder for the federal government in these agencies, you must buy through these Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative, BPAs. Easy access to ordering site available for federal end users. There's a number of ways that federal customers can purchase through these vehicles that we hold. Some are, our-run e-commerce platforms, and then some are government-run e-commerce platforms. And again, we have comprehensive training and certification where we go into all the rules and terms and conditions and means to sell to the federal government through those trainings and certifications. Next slide, please. So opportunities for NSSEA members utilizing the independent stationers RDCs. Again, the RDC is regional distribution centers. It's a very the regional distribution center is a very innovative way to procure office products. Again, facility and maintenance, GSAMAS product, and that IT category I talked about a little bit earlier. And what it really affords is it affords members and affiliates the opportunity to have access to the most popular. We have 12,000 items in these distribution centers to purchase them in one order, not having to meet manufacturers' individual minimums. And the cost that you pay, unlike buying through wholesalers and things of that nature, is directly tied to manufacturers' costs. So your theoretically your cost of goods is much lower than you would paying some type of wholesaler markup. The product delivers in 2 days. So for those of you in the office products industry, you'll know that generally the office products industry is a next day business. So 2 days, you're saying, well, if it's a next day business, how about 2 days? This was really designed to be a stock replenishment program. So if you read the last bullet, cost-efficient way to replenish inventory, that's what it's about. It's not a replacement for your short buy. It's a stock replenishment program. And there are manufacturer rebates that independent stationers have negotiated with the various manufacturers that are paid back that directly tie to the purchases you make through those distribution centers. Next slide, please. In addition to the RDCs, the regional distribution centers that I was just talking about, we have a multitude of other direct vendor relationships. And some of the direct vendor relationships both put product in the regional distribution centers and then also our members and affiliates have access to buy directly from those vendors when it may make more sense for whatever reason. So today we have 93 current office products vendors. We have 39 office furniture and school furniture vendors, 17 facilities, maintenance and industrial supply vendors, and again, this is a category, it's called many things, but GSAMAS is another one. And then we have a unique relationship we've put together recently with Educators Resource, of course, in your space, and that ties directly to our U.S. Communities school supply agreement that Kevin's going to talk to you about next. So at this time, if we could advance to the next slide, I'd like to turn this over to Kevin France, our Vice President of Sales for National Accounts.
Great. Thank you, Charles. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon on this call. As Charles has mentioned, we have the U.S. Communities Office Products Contract and our newly awarded school supply contract. So what I'd like to do as we go to the next slide, I'd like to talk a little bit about both of these programs and the opportunities. But first, let me tell you a little bit about who U.S. Communities is. U.S. Communities is a national organization, which happens to be the largest national organization in the world, that has over 60,000 public agencies as part of their membership. Now, it costs nothing to belong to U.S. Communities. And an entity, so that 60,000, can be a state as a single entity, it can be a county, it can be a city, it can be a library, it can be a church, it can be, you know, in any type of jurisdiction. It could be a water district, it could be the sheriff's department. I mean, it goes on and on and on, so you can kind of get a breadth of the scope. So we have customers that have anywhere from 30,000 end users all the way down to one end user. So U.S. Communities has 60,000 types of those types of entities out there. And they have a very unique business model, very unique that no one else people have tried, but nobody can replicate it. As they have a lead public agency. So they will go to what they call their advisory board, and this is some of their biggest members, and they will ask them if they would take the lead on doing a public solicitation of a given of a given product commodity. So whether that be school supplies, office supplies, electrical, playground equipment, whatever it might be, they have a lead agency that will take that will raise their hand and say, yes, we will do it. So that lead agency will then develop their own evaluation team, and that evaluation team will be made up of multiple other agencies throughout the United States. And not only do we have a lead agency that's been that runs the whole program, but there'll be about 6 or 7 other agencies. So in the case of the school supply contract, Prince William County in Virginia was the lead agency, but some other members on the evaluation team were San Diego Unified, obviously in San Diego, California, Great Valley up in Pennsylvania, Salem Kaiser in Oregon, etc. So there's a number of entities that make up that evaluation team. So they choose suppliers based on their overall capability, their bandwidth. It has to be overall best supplier governmental pricing. And then they have oversight by 5 founding agencies. So they're national sponsors, so the National Association of Communities, National Association of Counties, National Council of Mayors, et cetera, are some of their leading sponsors. So U.S. Communities is highly known, highly respected, and what happens is the lead agencies and the evaluation team then makes a recommendation to U.S. Communities. They said, okay, U.S. Communities, we had 9 bidders, or whatever the number was, on school supplies, and these are the 2 or 3 finalists, and then this is the one we will ultimately want to choose, and that's their recommendation to U.S. Communities. So U.S. Communities does not make a decision based on relationships. They make a decision based on what the committee, which is a totally unbiased third party, can then do. And because of that, and because these are all governmental public sector entities, other agencies across the United States can piggyback off of these. And they can piggyback off these agreements and not have to go to bid. And they can legally do that on every state in the United States. So if you go to the next slide, the opportunities are really, tremendous. As Charles mentioned, we're really excited about this new agreement with NSSEA because what it allows us to be able to do is to, have over to you, warm leads, access to a lot of opportunities. We have a very buttoned-down program from a training and certification of you, so you can go out and have the right messaging, to marketing and collateral, to every tool that you need to be successful. So it's really a turnkey program. It's backed by wholesalers. So in this case, for school supplies, it's backed by Educators Resource, as well as, if there's a little bit of office products involved, it's also backed by United Stationers and SP Richards. You don't have to do any responses from RFPs because it's been publicly solicited. There's good margin opportunities that you'll make on this contract, and it's proven. I mean, the U.S. Communities program through office products, which we now are entering our 4th year, soon to be entering our 4th year, has been a proven business model for independents. And as Charles said, we're owned a dealer-owned cooperative, and so we represent the independents. And so we've literally put hundreds of millions of dollars into these dealer member owner hands through U.S. Communities office products alone. So we're excited. This new contract just took effect. Actually went live on October 20th or 21st. And so we are just launching this program right now. So, from an end user perspective, like I mentioned, it's been publicly solicited. There's, from large, for an entire state, to, the smallest entity you can imagine, to park and recreational district, to a Sunday school, church classroom can take advantage of this. Benefits to the end users are there's third-party audits. So U.S. Communities will hire a third-party audit firm not associated with U.S. Communities, and they will then come to all their suppliers. And about every 18 months this happens, and ours is coming up again soon. We've already passed 2 audits with flying colors. So the price we tell people is the price they pay. There's rebates and incentives built into the program, and we really stress, as part of our strong value proposition, is to utilize local dealers, keep the business local, keep the spend local. There's no shipping costs for the end user, and there's no minimum orders. So that's kind of a really high level of the benefits on both sides, from your perspective and then from your potential customer's perspective. As we go to the next slide, the school supply contract has over 23,000 products on the contract. So as you can see, everything from teacher aids to reading and language, classroom decorations, math and science, literally everything is on the contract. So we do not use discount from list. U.S. Communities does not like discount from list. So they are net priced products, and inside of that we put together volume and large and order rebate incentives. In addition to that, we've created a warehouse program. So many school districts, as buy through a centralized warehouse. Well, we've made arrangements through the collaboration of Educators Resource to work with key manufacturers that we can add to, and we, that your school district can literally order in large quantities, and it'll be drop shipped directly to that school, and you'll be paid a servicing commission on that. We also have one-time large quantity purchase programs, so that means that somebody buys over $3,500 of a particular item, we'll go back to that manufacturer and we'll say, hey, can you get us some better pricing? Give an example, UCLA, gave us an order last year. They wanted to buy $42,000 worth of calendars. They said, can you give us a better price? There was 5 or 6 different types of calendars. We went back to at a glance and said, hey, we have this order. Can you give us a better price? It came out to about 7.5% less. We passed all that 7.5% on to the customer. They were happy. They're a very loyal customer of ours. Again, I mentioned free shipping, and then we have all the sales tools and reference guides and training materials to get people up and going on our programs. As we go to the next slide, I'll briefly talk about office products. I know primarily you're not in the office product business, but you do have access to this as well. We have over 23,000 items on our office supply contract. Both SP and United are the wholesalers of those products. Again, it's net price, so we don't use discount from lists. So you'll see everything from general office supplies to Jansan to toners. And inside of that, we have volume and e-commerce rebates. So if they order by ordering online and hitting a certain threshold, they'll get those rebates. And then what we call a bulk buy, which is really a hot list. So if they have their 100 items that they buy most frequently, we can do further discounting off of that for their bulk buying or hot listing program. On the next slide, please. So I'm going to pass this over to Charles, and Charles is going to talk about what this program entails for all of you. Charles.
Thank you, Kevin. The thing I want to emphasize in the next few minutes, and I was thinking about this as Kevin was talking, and it's a lot of new information, and so and it's hard to absorb it all in just a short webinar. So I'm going to strongly encourage, and again, we're going to share some contact information with you at the end of this webinar, but I'm strongly encourage you to reach out to us, and we'll reach out to you and go into more detail in this. But in essence, what we've done is created a very significantly reduced rate that's only available for NSSEA members, and that rate is $49 a month. There is an additional fee to participate in the federal sales and some of the other national account programs that we have. And I wanted to reemphasize the fact that there are rebates earned on the RDC and the direct vendor purchases that you make, and these vary by manufacturer and things of that nature. And again, I can't encourage you enough to reach back out to us for more information. Next slide, please. So what are the next steps if we've generated some interest here today? One is the first thing to do is contact Tom Ashburn. Tom Ashburn is a membership development representative for independent stationers. Very knowledgeable about all of our programs and services, has been doing this a very long time. We're going to share his contact information in a subsequent slide in just a moment here. And then there's some paperwork you need to fill out that says, yeah, I want to participate, in the NSSEA Independent Stationers Alliance. And then if there's, depending on the programs you want to participate in, again, like the school supply agreement that we have with U.S. Communities, you would go through a certification process and become certified and able to go out and represent our agreements. And as Kevin said, not only is it training and certification, it's where there's access to the myriad of marketing materials and things of that nature that we have, and how to go out and properly communicate the story of U.S. Communities and the independent stationers' relationship with them, and how you tie into all of that. It's very beneficial and obviously very necessary. So next slide, please. So if you're interested, we got a lovely picture of Tom Ashburn right there. We have his contact information, which is ashburn@independentstationers.coop. The .coop is not a typo. That is, it's not a .com. As Kevin said, we are, and Kevin and I both said we are a co-op. And also there is Tom's phone number, 317-579-1117. So Tom, and in addition, Tom may reach out to you and see, based upon your attendance on this webinar, if there's some interest on your end based upon some of the things we've talked about today. Next slide, please. We will be, independent stationers will be at Expo, so come visit our booth to learn more about independent stationers and our programs. We're very excited about that. We've actually attended the Expo for a couple of years in a row. But with this new alliance, we're hoping to have much greater conversations with you and look forward to seeing you there. Next slide, please. All right. Well, with that said, I'll ask the host if we have any questions, and we'll be glad to try to answer those.
Well, as of right now, there haven't been any questions that have been typed in, but I'm sure there was a lot of information for people to think about and digest, so there'll be questions that come forward. I would like to let everybody know that this webinar will be offered again tomorrow and will also be recorded and on our website. So if there are other folks in your organization that you would like to have participate or listen to this, then that's how it will be available. And I'd like to thank Charles and Kevin for explaining this important opportunity for us. And that way, as soon as you have the opportunity to talk with them, certainly if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to give me a call here at the association as well. But the intent of this is that once this organization was awarded this important contract, we wanted to make sure that our members had an opportunity to participate and grow your business and maybe take advantage of some of the other opportunities in the office supply and GSAMAS businesses as well. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for participating and look forward to seeing everybody at Expo. Thank you.